London is not a beautiful city. Under the soot that covers its buildings is a teeming mass of 4 million souls trying to survive, mostly off of each other. You see it in the paper every day. Thankfully, we have the London Times to keep us informed of all these troubling activities with an unbiased eye and razor-sharp accuracy. We find this publication to be of invaluable assistance in our investigations, and I'm sure you will as well. Among the forces of evil which run rampant in this city, there are also, thankfully, two groups of individuals who will aid us in our cause. As we do, they attempt to right wrongs and restore harmony and civility to the streets of London. The first of these groups is a ragtag association of young ruffians. I call them the Baker Street Irregulars. Don't let them fool you. They may be scruffy and ill-bred, but they are on the right side of the law. They can go everywhere, see everything, and overhear everyone. They are my eyes and ears in the streets of London, unquestionably a tremendous asset in our work. They will help us in our investigations if they can. The other group is a far more civilized collection of gentlemen and institutions. I call them the Baker Street Regulars. They, too, will be extremely useful in our work. At the start of any investigation, do keep in mind that it is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Unwittingly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories instead of theories to suit facts. The people and places to whom I will now introduce you will help us to collect the facts. May we use them wisely. Come, the game's afoot.
I dare say, Holmes, I believe someone has left a note upon our door. Dear Mr. Holmes, please check today's Times. I think you will find something of interest. Signed, a friend. Did the dispatcher show you the wagon, Holmes?
Not only did he show it to me, it revealed some very interesting clues.
Oh, do tell.
The wagon housed a cage, which of course was no surprise. The door was wide open. I found that the padlock had been sprung, left to dangle on the ring bolt. Blood was smeared all over the stairs leading in and all over the floor inside.
Oh, how perfectly nauseating.
It was. But what interested me even more was what lay in the corner of the cage.
What was it?
2 large leather collars. Attached to the end of each collar was a leather pouch. Both pouches had been ripped open and emptied.
What do you suppose it adds up to?
Time will tell, Watson. Time will tell.
Oh, no. What do you want? I thought I was going to have a nice quiet day.
Somebody has asked us to check today's Times, and I was wondering if you'd be so kind as to tell me what you know about the mysterious deaths in the southeast.
There's nothing mysterious about it. The culprits are in custody at Old Bailey. The victim's body is at Bart's.
And what about the murdered lions?
What of them?
What did you find at the scene of the crime? Holmes wants me to record it precisely.
What did I find? 2 lions shot a number of times, lying on top of one another. Wagon tracks leading away from the bodies. Footprints in the damp grass.
How many footprints, Inspector?
Oh, who knows? I believe there were 2 sets of boot prints, if you want to get specific. They entered and exited from the wagons. Now, will that do it for your Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson?
Nearly. And what became of the wagon? Surely Holmes will want to know that.
Abandoned in Archbishop's Park. I had a man drive it over to our central carriage stables, largely so that someone could look after the horses.
Any motives for the murder?
Unfortunately, I haven't a clue.
I was wondering if you could tell me anything about the death of your son's lions.
Oh, I wish we could. You know, Barry has traveled all over the world. And to think it would happen right here in London.
You've traveled with him, haven't you, Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes, I did. For all 5 years of our marriage. But I must say I'm getting a bit weary of it. I mean, really, Mr. Holmes, it's no life for a married man to go traipsing all round the world.
Of course it isn't. He should settle down and raise a family. My husband, Carol, could get Barry a job down at Rogers and Singer. Before I die, it would be nice to have one of my boys right nearby.
Where is your other son?
Last we heard, Thomas was in Oldenburg, Germany.
Germany? Roy's late show just finished a tour of Germany, did it not?
Yes, it did.
Tell me, did you happen to see your brother-in-law while you were there?
I certainly did not. But my husband might have. I can't really say for sure. You see, we don't talk about Thomas much.
I don't mean to pry, but may I ask why?
Oh, it's nothing really. You see, years ago, Thomas loaned Barry some money when he was trying to put together his animal show. And now Thomas believes that Barry is forever in his debt.
Don't know a thing about them jungle-type lions, but I might be able to help you out with Stephen Lyons.
How so, Shinwell? Did you know him?
Well, he came in here from time to time whenever his ship was in port. Friend of mine up at Pentonville knew his brother. Says the 2 of them were lock-pickers of the ace variety. Anyways, just yesterday afternoon, Stephen Lyons comes in here with some red-headed fella. About an hour after Lyons left, in comes Derek Quinn, and he struts right over to this red-headed bloke.
Who might Derek Quinn be?
Don't know, sir. But I've never liked the looks of him, I haven't.
What about Thomas O'Neill? Do you know anything about him?
Don't believe I've ever met him. But from what I hear about the bloke, I'm surprised I didn't run into him in the slammer.
What have you heard?
It's only rumor, mind you. But he's suspected of every jewel theft from here to Timbuktu. And they says he'd 2-time you in the wink of an eye if it'd line his pockets.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Queen's Court stands in order. pleasure to see you again. So it's the murder of the lions you're investigating, isn't it? Excellent. But first things first. Tell me, who murdered those unfortunate beasts? Remember, you're to choose either from your notebook or the directory. Right you are. Now tell the court, why did Thomas O'Neill kill the lions? Good work. Now for Thomas O'Neill's accomplices. I am told that there are 2 other criminals involved in this case. Please inform the court as to their respective identities. Do remember, you can choose only one at a time. But don't worry, I will inform you if you make an inaccurate choice. It appears you've been doing your homework on this case. Now then, what role did Barry O'Neill play in the crime? Quite so. Now tell us, what essential role did Stephen Lyons play in this crime? Excellent deduction. Now tell us, who murdered Stephen Lyons? Good show. But do tell the court just how Thomas O'Neill did the foul deed. What a ruthless chap, that O'Neill. Seems to have all kinds of blood on his hands. Now tell me, why did he kill Stephen Lyons? Double-crossed. Now there's a tale that Lyons didn't live to tell. Good show. You've done a most satisfactory job on this case. Court is recessed. Until the next time, of course.
An extremely difficult case, and your score is absolutely perfect. I'm quite sure we could not have done any better. Right this way, Inspector.
I'm a busy man, Holmes. I don't have time to be traipsing about London at your beck and call. Now, why have you called me here?
To help you with this case.
Oh, yeah? How?
By solving the double murders of Lyons and Lyons.
You know who killed the beasts and the chap on St. George's Road?
Yes, and I think you'll be very interested in learning why the deed was done.
Go on, then. I'm listening.
As you must recall, Inspector, 5 months ago, Thomas O'Neill, a jewel thief, escaped a London police search.
We almost had him.
Almost apparently was not good enough. Less than 3 months later, he was detained in Germany in connection with the stolen jewels of the Duchess of Oldenburg. Although the theft was similar to O'Neill's style, they found no evidence to hold him.
What has all this to do with dead lions?
I was just coming to that, Inspector. At the same time as the Duchess's jewels disappeared, Roy Slade's wild animal show finished its German tour. Barry O'Neill, brother of Thomas, happens to be the lion tamer for the troupe.
Could Thomas have used Barry O'Neill's lions to smuggle the jewels into London?
Excellent hypothesis, Watson. I see you are learning.
Oh, thank you, Holmes.
But where did he put the jewels? Behind the lion's back molars?
No need for anything as deep-seated as that. Leather collars with pouches did the trick.
But if the lion tamer put the pouches on, Why did Thomas O'Neill have to kill the lions to get them off?
Oh, I know that one. Because Barry O'Neill was in hospital with 2 broken legs.
Right you are, Watson. And that's why Thomas had to solicit the help of Stephen Lyons. Without a key to the cage, he needed the services of an expert lockpicker like Lyons.
Then who killed Lyons?
Do you mean the animals or the man?
The man.
Thomas O'Neill, so that he wouldn't have to pay for the lockpicker's services.
You know, Holmes, the fracture that Barry O'Neill suffered would have mended in 4 weeks. If Thomas would have had some patience, he would have been able to get his jewels back without any complications.
Ah, yes, Watson. Patience is a virtue. Unfortunately, it seldom comes hand in hand with stealing and murder.
Having spoken with Barry O'Neill, I can't believe he'd be a party to the killing of his own lions.
I don't believe he was. That wasn't part of the original plan.
I've got to hand it to you, Holmes. You've done a fine job on a most difficult case.
Thank you, Inspector. But it really was elementary.
One more thing, Holmes.
Inspector?
We know in the case of Mr. Lyons' death that the murder weapon was poison. Wherever did Thomas O'Neill get it?
Derek Quinn, Vipers Unlimited.
I certainly am glad that this case is shut. But there is one thing that I'm not certain of.
Yes?
Who did leave the note on our doorstep in the first place?
Elementary. Mary O'Neill.
The lion tamer's missus?
I believe she'd had her fill of circus life and was ready to settle down. When she suspected Thomas O'Neill and her husband were involved in jewel thieving, she knew it was time to get out.
Holmes, you are simply amazing. Mr. Ellis has not yet returned from his assignment in Europe.
Well, it looks as if he'll be of no help to us on this case.
The victim, Stephen Lyons, was last seen in the company of Sylvia Carpenter, Marcy Edwards, and Collier Eddy at the Red Bull Inn. It was a simple matter for the police to identify and apprehend them. Would you like to talk to them?
Yes, thank you. Tell me, Miss Carpenter, what happened last evening?
He just dropped down dead, he did. I did nothing to him, I swear it.
Miss Carpenter, did you know the gentleman?
Never seen him before. Marcy, me and Collier was just sitting around talking about this and that, and the sailor comes up and he says he'd like to join us. So we started off to Marcy's place. We only got a few steps and the sailor starts gasping for air. He made an awful sound and then he just keeled over dead. I took off like a shot.
Did you notify the authorities?
No, why should I?
And then he just dropped over, dead as a doornail.
That's precisely the story Miss Carpenter told us.
Well, then that proves that it's the truth. Looks like the coppers got the wrong girl. But that ain't unusual, is it?
I understand the man was robbed.
Well, the man was dead. What use did he of a few quid?
Dead or not, it's still stealing, my good woman.
I was out for a little fun is all. Never seen the bloke before, and I had no cause to harm him.
The police seem to think that his money and gold earring might have been cause enough.
Well, I took the opportunity as it came is all, but I didn't murder him for it.
You do appear to be up to your eyebrows in something, Hogg.
It's the jewel robberies here and on the continent.
Ah, yes, the society burglars and the Oldenburg jewels. I've been reading about it in the Times.
The cases are quite similar in several respects, though I'm baffled at how the thief or thieves have managed to escape detection.
I agree, it is a mystery.
So, what brings you here, Watson?
Holmes and I received a strange note instructing us to check today's Times. We discovered 2 items of interest: the murder of Lyons in Hyde Park and the mysterious death of a Stephen Lyons. Interesting coincidence, don't you think?
Oh, it is. I do wish I could help you, but I haven't kept up with the latest since I buried myself in this jewelry business.
Lions? The beasts or the dead chap?
The dead chap they found down on St. George's Road.
Now that's a lion I've seen.
What do you suppose was the cause of death?
For once I believe the papers had it right. It was a drug, some sort of poison.
What sort of drug?
I don't know. It affected the respiratory system. His lips and fingertips were quite blue, but his eyes had a distinct yellow tint. I'm afraid I've never seen anything like it before. Something rather exotic, I should imagine.
Why, HR, whatever are you doing?
Going home, Whitson, going home.
Going home? I was hoping you could answer a question about the mysterious death of Stephen Lyons.
Lyons! Ah, yes, 896. No real evidence for that one. Just some clothes. No personal effects. Clothing undamaged. But traces of sea salt indicating he may have been a sailor. Well, that's about it. Now, if you excuse me, I'm off. Ta-ta!
Ta-ta?
And do say hello to your friend Mr. Holmes for me, will you, old chap? Let me have a look at this list. Of all of these people, Thomas O'Neill is the only name that rings a bell. He was a suspect in several jewel robberies, but he was never convicted.
I see.
Well, Watson, it seems that old Langdale is at home with a raging case of the sniffles.
Perhaps we should call on him there.
No, I dare say we'll all be better off if we leave him alone with his tissues and his mustard plaster.
It appears that Barry and Thomas O'Neill are the sons of Carol and Olivia O'Neill.
Very observant, Watson.
It was nothing, Holmes.
Stephen Lyons has been on board for about 2 years now. To tell you the truth, I had just begun to look into irregularities in his paperwork.
What prompted you to do that?
It seems like some things started disappearing from behind locked doors. Never found any of it. But when I asked him about it, he was rather evasive.
My, that sounds incriminating.
But more than that, I had reason to believe that he carried unassigned cargo for his own profit.
What sort of cargo, Mr. Eason?
Everything, from horse collars to gems to French perfumes.
When did you discover this?
Following our recent passage on the Rhine.
What can I do for you two hombres?
We're investigating last night's murder of the 2 lions in Hyde Park.
Oh, now that was something. I'm telling you, I've been from the Pecos to the Pampas, from the Sierra to the Sahara, and I never would have thought I'd have 2 of my lions killed in the capital city of the civilized world.
Oh my, then the lions were yours, Mr. Slade?
Well, in a manner of speaking, they were with the show. Barry O'Neill actually owned them, poor compadre. He's laid up in St. Thomas Hospital with a busted leg. He was helping unload the ship yesterday when a crate fell smack on him. He'll be laid up for some time. Poor fella. Poor me, his cats kind of made my show.
Do you know how he acquired the cats?
Oh, he caught him himself in Africa with his bare hands. Probably the only hands that ever handled those cats. I'm telling you, they take your head off as soon as look at you.
So no one else could safely get close to the lions?
Well, there's Barry's wife. She's traveling with the show, too. Well, she's in the act, but just window dressing, if you know what I mean. I hear she's staying with Barry's folks here in London.
Lyon's landlady says he's dead.
We already know that, Watson. Did you find out anything else?
He owed her 2 months back rent, but he told her he'd be paying up plus several months in advance come Tuesday. Mr. O'Neill, Dr. John Watson, may I speak with you for a moment?
What about?
Your Lyons. We're investigating their murder.
Oh, you're from the police?
No, I'm working with Sherlock Holmes. The Lyons were yours, were they not?
Yes. And such good lads, both of them. Lenny and Bruce. We've been together so long. I don't know what I shall do without them.
Do you have any notion who would want your Lyons dead?
No, not really. I can't quite imagine who would... Oh, 2 innocent lions dead.
There, Mr. O'Neill. I assure you, Mr. Holmes and I will get to the bottom of this.